Kakalosh Boker or Bekiim Bahalacha 4, day 77, Siman Kavchet 28, page 191, Halacha Aleph. This is talking about now Esech Hadat, remaining aware of a person's tefillin. So it says over here like this: Chayav adam l'mashmesh b'tefillin b'chol sha'ah shelo yasiach dato mehem. So Shulchan Aruch is basically saying that a person should always be touching or handling his tefillin. That he understands that he's aware that he has it. Umishmush b'tefillin b'chol sha'ah yesh k'dvar kavana b'chol sha'ah shenizkar mehem. Some people say that it's anytime you remember you have tefillin on, you have to touch them. But some people say no. Right? It says there's no shiur zman. It's proper to actually pay attention and to suspect for their words as well. During Amidah, you're not supposed to do this. But then you're going to be patur from a sechadat, as it's brought down the command in Halacha Zayin. Meaning, in the middle of Amidah, you're supposed to be thinking about Amidah. You cannot start thinking about tefillin the entire time. Sometimes they actually have sidurim that on the top it's written tefillin during Shachrit. Except for whenever you're reading the sidur, you have tefillin written. But during Amidah, you're not supposed to think about anything else. You're only supposed to be thinking about this. Let's look in the footnote 206. This is the ruling of the Shulchan Aruch based on the Gemara. See the preface for discussion of the Halacha, explaining whether it is a Torah law or institution of our sages, meaning whether it's Toraita or Rabbanan. 207 says, Zachorin said that Arizal, ruling that while saying Amidah prayer and studying Torah, one is exempt from the obligation to avoid the Sechadat from Tefillin. And this is going to be explained in Halacha 7. Right? The Shut Torah Lishma, he added, that the Halacha required to hold one's hands folded against each other's chests is during the Amidah, and therefore it's impossible to think about, meaning if during Amidah you have to put your hands on your chest. So if you're not going to come in and going to start thinking about or touching the tefillin, right? The Zalman also concurred that during this ruling, he says one may have a sechadat with tefillin during the Amidah and while studying Torah, also the same thing. So he says even so, each time the one thinks about the tefillin, he should touch them. Piskei will question the compatibility of the two laws, arguing that if one is exempt from avoiding, right, a sechadat while engaged in these activities, there should be no obligation to touch one's tefillin. The Piskei Teshuvot ruled that in fact it is forbidden to touch one's tefillin while doing the Amidah. It is more likely, however, that Zalman did not agree with the Torah Lishma's ruling that one must keep his hands right on there, right on his chest, basically. Okay, next halacha, halacha bet. Whenever you're going to touch the tefillin, you always touch the tefillin shel yad first, and then afterwards you do the shalosh. So you first do the yad, then you're going to do the shalosh. Mishum, right? Whenever you're touching the tefillin. Mishum shatfilin shel yad yoter krova liyado, because tefillin shel yad is closer to your hand, and therefore em ma'avinim lamitzvot. Ve'otam nesh tefillin shel yad kodem b'pasuk. So two reasons. Number one, it's before in the pasuk. It's always always says yadecha. So since yadecha is always first, you always touch tefillin shel yad and then shalosh. I'll give you an example. There's a minhag of Morocco that yotzer or. You do tefillin shel yotzer or, right? Or some people don't do yotzer or vorechosher, right? And also yotzer meorot. So when you're doing that, you always do first the yad and then the rosh. If you're okay, that's according to the Kabbalah. According to the Moroccan custom, it was both always, right? So if you're doing both, you always do yad and then rosh. Always, yeah, you would do always yad first. Always. If you're doing only rosh, then only rosh. But if you're doing both, yad always comes first. Always. Both. And they do first yad and then rosh. And then head. Okay, very good. So that's al pi Kabbalah. That's only, so if you're only doing that, that's fine. Shh. Yeah, guys. So he says that's fine. But he says if you're going to be doing both, meaning yad vishel rosh, tamid yad kodemet. Tamid. There's no such thing that you're going to catch. If you're doing both, that's what he just said. If you're doing only one, that's fine. Gal Yisrael, you only do the Rosh. The Moroccans don't do it all. But the Pi Kabbalah, you only do the Rosh. If you're only doing Rosh, so you're not going to do Yad, you're only doing Rosh. Fine. So he comes and he says as follows. So he says, right, V'im yado krova yoter letefillin shel Rosh, kegon sheyoshev yado al hashulchan v'aish, right, ve'arosh karov el yad. What happens now if your hand is closer to shel Rosh? So some people say you don't have to do that. Some people say no, you always do, right, the one of shel yad tefillah. So he says like this, yeah, 208. The first opinion is that of the Or Letzion. He explained that the Levush offered two different reasons for touching the shel yad, as listed in the previous halacha. According to the first reason, in this case, one would have to touch a tefillin shel rosh first. But according to the second reason, which is following the order of the mitzvot in the Torah, you have to touch the shel yad. So therefore, you could do whichever one that you want. The halacha brura different for this ruling. He says the main reason for touching one's tefillin shel yad first is because of the rule ema v'ninu mitzvot. So according to that, so it all depends which one's first, which one's closest to you. Fine. Halacha gimel. כשיאמר וקשרתם לאות על ידיך ימשמש תפילין של יד, וכשיאמר וידובו בניניכם ימשמש של ראש, וכן שיגיע, right, וקשרתם אותם לאות על ידיכם וידובו בניניכם, right, אותו דבר. זאת אומרת, in קריאת שמע you're going to have it twice, in the קריאת שמע, in both of them, what you're going to do is you're going to do first the yad, and then the rosh, and again you're going to repeat it, doing them. והמנהג לנשק את פאותיו אחר משמש של יד, וכן לנשקם אחר משמש של ראש, is because of חיבוב מצווה. Meaning the only reason why you're going to kiss your hands is because of חיבוב מצווה. You're appreciating the mitzvah. The Shulchan Aruch, look in 209. He says, he cited, you go like this and then like this. You don't kiss the tefillin. I've never seen a person go like this. Fine. No comments. Yeah, you always go like this and then you kiss. So he comes and he says like this. Shulchan Aruch has said it below in Halacha 16. He taught that the practice of Torah scholars is to kiss the tefillin just before putting them on and after taking them off. But there's no mention in the practice of kissing them whenever touching them. Nevertheless, this has become the universal practice and is mentioned in the Chayadam, Kitzush Chanuruch, right? He says, the Ben Ish Chai, he says specifically that the practice is to kiss the fingers after touching Shel Yad and again touching Shalosh, and not to touch both and then to kiss the fingers only once. Right? Meaning that you do like this. Not, you understand, like you're doing 1-1. In Yalkut Yosef and Tzitzit, they said the practice of kissing the Tzitzit is also by the Tali Gadol. The Shnei Luchot Abrid said in the Mishnah Berurah testified that devout individuals kiss the matzah and maror and vegetables before eating them, and then they kiss the lulav while holding them, and the walls of the sukkah before exiting. All these practices are showing chibuv mitzvah. Last halacha, daled. Kasher memashmesh betfilin lo yemashmesh kasher yemashmesh hayiver b'li sim lev. When you're already touching the tefillin, don't do it like a blind person. Like mitzad anashim melumada. Ela achar kavanat halev and dvarim. Meaning, don't just what do you like a robot? No robots. Pay attention what's written in the tefillin. And he shabed mocho v'libo l'kadosh baruch hu. He has to subjugate his heart and his brain to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Remember that the tefillin shel yad is opposite the heart, right? The tefillin shel rosh opposite the brain. So he says you have to be mishabed mocho v'libo l'kadosh baruch hu. V'yismach Yisrael be'osav. Bnei Yisrael have to be very happy with their actions. Asher kiddushanu mitzvotav. Fortunate are we that we have these things. These are the teachings of the Chesel Alafim. A similar message also appears in the Yisod Shoresh Avodah. Harav Zalman included the following instruction in his prayer book. By touching the tefillin often, a person thinks about the holy name contained within them, and he will be inspired to devote his heart and mind to worshiping him. Also, it prevents him from reaching a state of Hesech Hadat and engaging in frivolous or useless conversation. So these are all just the halachot of the kissing of the tefillin.